It started on a Tuesday afternoon, the kind of ordinary day you don't expect to remember. I was looking for a pen in our bedroom, rummaging through my wife's nightstand because she often kept random stationery there. That's when my fingers brushed against a small cardboard box tucked under a pile of old receipts and a hairbrush. I pulled it out absent-mindedly, already half smiling at the thought that it might be some forgotten gift or surprise. But the smile froze the second I saw what it was, a box of condoms. My first thought was confusion. We hadn't used protection in years. We didn't need to. We'd both agreed after our second child that birth control wasn't necessary anymore. My heart started to beat in my ears, a cold rush creeping up my neck. I turned the box over in my hands, and that's when I saw it. The seal broken, one condom missing. A dozen explanations tried to fight their way into my head, but none of them made sense. Maybe she'd bought them for some weird prank? Maybe one of her friends left it here? But even as I grasped for those flimsy justifications, something deep in my gut told me the truth wasn't going to be innocent. My hands felt heavy as I set the box back in the drawer exactly where I'd found it. I didn't want her to know I'd seen it. Not yet. I needed time to think, to watch, to see if she'd give herself away. That night at dinner, I couldn't focus on a single word she said. She was talking about her day at work, laughing about some coworker's mistake. But I was watching her mouth, her eyes, her hands, searching for cracks. Every laugh felt rehearsed, every smile tinged with guilt. When she reached across the table to touch my hand, I felt a strange mix of longing and disgust. I wanted to believe the woman I married wouldn't betray me, but the box in that drawer said otherwise. By bedtime, she seemed more affectionate than usual, leaning against me on the couch, resting her head on my shoulder, even brushing her lips against my neck. It should have felt good. Instead, it felt like a performance, as though she were trying to hide something behind a curtain of warmth. When she finally drifted off to sleep beside me, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. I knew one missing condom might not be undeniable proof, but it was the first thread, and I intended to pull until the whole thing unraveled. When I stepped into the living room, I froze. Derek was there, comfortably seated on my couch, sipping from my coffee mug as if he owned the place. My wife stood nearby, her face pale, eyes darting between us. The last time I had seen him was years ago, an old acquaintance she swore she barely knew. But his presence here in my home shattered any illusion I'd been clinging to. I didn't raise my voice. Instead, I scanned the room, the coat casually slung over the armchair, the faint smell of cologne that wasn't mine, the way she avoided my gaze. The months of her coldness, the excuses about late nights at work, all suddenly clicked into place. My stomach churned with a mix of anger and nausea. She had no idea that the moment she left for the store an hour earlier, I'd already found the text messages on her phone. She had no idea that when I came home from work early, it wasn't by accident. I had planned this. I wanted to see for myself. And now here we were, three people in a room thick with the stench of betrayal, waiting for someone to speak first. The weeks after Derek's arrest felt strangely quiet, almost unnervingly so. No more whispers in the dark, no more suspicious messages flashing on her phone. She moved out 2 days later, packing her things without meeting my eyes, muttering half-hearted apologies that meant nothing. I didn't stop her. I didn't even ask where she was going. That chapter was over, and I had no desire to reread it. My lawyer assured me the divorce would be swift, given the circumstances, and for once, the law was on my side. Friends tried to rally around me, offering drinks, distractions, and forced laughter, but what I needed wasn't noise, it was space. Space to breathe, to think, to feel the weight of 19 years finally lifting off my chest. Some mornings, I'd wake up and instinctively reach for her side of the bed, only to find it empty. At first, that emptiness hurt like hell. But over time, I started to see it for what it really was, freedom. The kind of freedom you only realize you've been missing once you finally taste it. A few months later, I stood in the same living room where it had all fallen apart, sunlight streaming in through the windows. The furniture was different, the walls freshly painted, and the air felt lighter, as if the house itself had exhaled. I had taken up small woodworking projects, turning the garage into a makeshift workshop. There was something deeply therapeutic about shaping raw, rough wood into something strong and beautiful, like I was rebuilding myself in the process. I wasn't interested in dating yet. Maybe I wouldn't be for a long time. But I was interested in living again, and that was enough. Every so often, I'd hear through mutual friends that she was struggling. Derek was serving time, and her attempts to find a comfortable life elsewhere had fizzled. I didn't gloat, didn't smile at her misfortune. But I also didn't feel the urge to rescue her. She had made her choices, and I had made mine. One evening, as the sun dipped low and the scent of fresh sawdust hung in the air, I realized something simple but profound. I wasn't angry anymore. Not at her, not at Derek, not at the 19 years that ended the way they did. They had been what they were, and now they were gone. I stepped outside, the cool breeze brushing against my face, and for the first time in a long time, I felt genuinely at peace. The past didn't owe me anymore. The future was wide open. And as I closed the door behind me, I knew I was finally ready to walk into it.